West Tigers Faithful, episode number 41. I tried to make my name Dejected Devil's Advocate Reedy. I only had a 30 character limit, so I am Jared Reedy. And with me is my friend Joe McCord. How are you, my friend?
I live in a cone of silence and pain and torment. The pit of despair. My home.
Well, I guess it's probably best to explain to some people what we do, in regards to how the episodes are run. Mac will fix the live and ensure that it runs smoothly. I will then go on the back end and I will edit it. But what you'll see is that sometimes the episode names are a little bit different. Like today, it is the Team List Tuesday Rotcast. But last time we actually beat the Chooks, I called it Get a Dog Up Your Uncle Nick. Now, where I'm going with this is simply that there was a certain person that put out a tweet regarding dogs on the West Tigers Faithful X account. Tigers Faithful, if you aren't following us already. Same with YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and the like. Please make sure you like, subscribe, etc. But the tweet read like this. The West Tigers are like a dog that shits everywhere. It smells bad, it fucks pillows, it has 3 legs, 1 eye, and mange.
Mange.
I would love for you to explain that, because that's where we're going to start, because there really is nothing in the news cycle for us to dissect. So, but we can begin there.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've ever had a dog like that in your life, right? It is a very specific, quintessential archetype of a dog. And I think lots of people have experienced that dog. It usually belongs to somebody who you don't like associating with, but you're kind of forced to, like some uncle or, your grandma that you don't like as much as your other grandma, or, family friend that just has this shitty dog that you just wish didn't exist. Okay, it's still a dog butt, right? Like, everybody likes dogs, you know what I mean? So, like, you still kind of just got a soft spot for this dog, and then sometimes the dog will sit on your lap and you're like, oh, you smell and you're ugly, but I'll pat you, I guess, because look, now he likes me patting him. Okay, we're friends again. And then the next time you see the dog, it bites you, or it shits on you, or it's fucking just being a stinky prick. That's what I'm getting at. The West Tigers are just that dog, like, just sometimes you just feel like you just wish that dog would just not exist anymore and you never have to see it again. But it's still a puppy. It's a dog.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
And, as much as you love it, it's a very hard thing to love.
I'm having some really bad tech here. Really bad.
What's going on?
Stream keeps freezing up on me. I'm getting too old for this podcasting shit. My slow-ass Australian internet. They got faster internet in fucking Namibia. Can't even pull off a premiere, Reedy. What are we doing? What are we doing? Tell me why we'd even bother.
Well, the internet is just like that dog that you mentioned, I guess.
Exactly.
Well, dogs like that also go to Auckland and they go down by 20 points to a Warriors side full of injuries.
Oh.
It looked really good in the first minute, and then it didn't. I'll be brutally honest. I got so drunk on Saturday. I had a friend's birthday. I actually went to the Roosters Dragons game at Cogra. It was a huge day out. So I'm actually coming in here. I don't know if many people can hear, but there's a bit of grain in my voice. I'm a little bit more nasally than usual. Ultimately, I will allow you to tell the story, and I'm just going to ask you questions. What did you make of this, and what did you see?
My memories of the game are more like visceral emotions that I felt during it than so much like specifically. Like it was like from like the game started, and I don't know, like was it that good in the first minute? I don't know. Did we score? That's right. Yeah, we did. Scored first. Incredible. How did that happen? Feels like a decade ago.
Off the back of a very, very rare penalty.
Crazy. But yeah, no, like I was just sitting there just watching it. Like it's like when you, I don't know if you've ever like gone to like a recital or like, you know, your kids' gym or swimming lessons or something like that, and you're sort of sitting there and you're just like, surely this gets better. You're just watching like the school play, and you're just like, you know, I mean, they're trying. Yeah, I can see what they're trying. No, no, no. Now the kid's crying. Oh, and then by the end of it, I'm like, instead of watching the game, I'm sort of just like looking around and just like, you know, is everybody else witnessing this? Like, like, does anybody else find this amusing? Like, is this funny? So I just turned to Twitter. Like, so in what I'm saying is like my real lived experience was I went online and I just started blasting. I just fucking
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, this is typically a therapy session, and you did go blasting. There was a lot. There was a lot there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm usually a little bit reserved on social media, but I've just had it. You know, like what was it? 6 losses in a row we had? Was it 6?
It was 6. Yeah, it was 6 on the trot, then a win, now a loss.
Wait, like just have the 7th loss in a row. Don't give me a win, and then lull me into a false sense of security, and then fucking do that. Like, don't do it. Just don't do it. And then to top it off, Benji gives us no respite by naming nothing interesting in the team list. What are we going to even talk about? I guess we could talk about the New South Wales Cup. They were all right. Like, Warriors have only lost one game, and they had a good comeback at the end.
I think there's a lot to talk about the team list. I'd argue that's the biggest thing to talk about beyond the.
It's not. It's. I mean, well, what? Like Adam got named at lock. Oh, there you go.
A certain centre playing his first game.
Wait,
In
what?
the NRL. For the Tigers.
Did May get named? Did he?
He did.
On to stardom. Oh, he did. Okay, well that's all right. I mean, Taylor May scored 3 tries in the last 10 minutes in New South Wales Cup, so he did all right. We must not be being very engaging. Nobody's talking in the chat. You're giving us a complex. Tigers fans, tell us something about your experience as a Tigers fan. I want to know. Please write in the comments the game that stands out the most in your memory of like the pit of despair. You know, what was that like? Was it one of those like final round losses, like the Newcastle loss where they hadn't won a game all season and we only had to beat them to make the 8? Was it that one? Was it the Tommy game? Was it one of the final? Was it the break the Nasta field goal game? Like, which is it? What's your like worst memory as a Tigers fan? Hit me up in the comments. I'm curious.
I've got one.
Yeah, go on. I'm interested.
It was a game before I went to Europe last year. It was a game where we got trounced by the Dragons, where we were ahead in the first half. Jaden Sullivan created a couple of tries. And then they put on like 48 points in 40 minutes.
That's your worst?
Yeah, that was horrible. Horrible.
For me, that was a Tuesday, my friend. Nah, I don't even remember that game. Like that, I think the Tommy game was tough, eh? Like that was tough.
Yeah, I was there, but that was a little bit more of disbelief. It was like, how is this happening?
Yeah, that game felt a little bit like the one on the weekend, didn't it? It was just like, why are they so bad? Like, it's so strange because the last week when we won, they were so good all game. And then the week before, they were so bad. So bad. Like, before the last 3 rounds, the Tigers have been relatively consistent. Like, even throughout that loss streak, sans the Melbourne game.
Yeah, they've been in contests. The Manly game, they weren't really in the like they were in it until half time, and then
I mean, you've got fluctuating levels anyway, obviously, but the Manly game, and then earlier in the season, there was, I forget, there was a game that wasn't super great, but like in patches, we were pretty good. Like, we've now gone, 2 out of the last 3 weeks, I'd say they didn't even turn up. And that's not good. Would you say they turned up against the Warriors? I know you're of the perspective, I think, that the Warriors played pretty good and that they're a good team. I don't know. Like,
I think that's what hurts a little bit. That ultimately it's quite depressing just seeing your team just get out muscled, and with teams that just have better systems, that have the depth, that can have these players come in, like hypothetically, right? If we were missing the players, the equivalent that they were missing, and obviously we had Buller out, they had Chance out. Taruva and Tuapiki were sort of both the backup fullbacks. We lose. I know we're going to talk about Luai. I know that, but and I know he's dividing opinion right now. But if we lose Luai and who is that? Who is our Metcalf? I think you can put a line away through us instantly. But if we lose Terrell May, call it off. But here they are, and a guy like Tanner Boyd, and it actually hurts that I was right. That he could. That he kicked really nicely, that he was really smart with his decisions. He built pressure nicely, ran the ball when he needed to. Totally different play to Luke Metcalf, but went out there and their system held up. And that's the most disappointing thing. And I know we're a work in progress and whatever else. And, whether you're pro Benji, anti Benji, I don't think anybody expected was lifting the Proven this year, but I guess that's what hurts. It's like, oh God, after how many rebuilds, and it's just like, they can replace that talent, and in they come, and it's like, oh, that hurts. Look, I think there were moments where we showed plenty, where we showed some resilience and fight on both sides of the ball. I also thought there were times when Sutton was really, really tough on us, and there was some glaring 50-50s that we missed. You saw the camera pan to Benji off I think it was one of the decisions, and he goes, fuck off, that's fucking bullshit. I think we all felt that way. But again, not having the resilience to deal with that, or the injuries, or not having a system that holds up, I think that's what hurts. I'm seeing people, including yourself, saying, cash the receipt, tell Luai to leave. Like, I just think it was one of those days where we just got outplayed and beaten. I don't think, look, Birdie made some errors. Fanua Bolle made some errors. There was some dumb penalties conceded, including by one Jerome Luai. It was just one of those games where it was similar to the games that we played against Redcliffe last year, where we just, we might have been within 10, but realistically looking back, did we really have a sniff? No, probably not.
Yeah, I'm over that. Just chalk it up. Just Tigers, just not good enough. Just another. Move on to next week. Just better side. Blah 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 blah. I'm just over it. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? Like, we've made our beds as Tigers fans that have decided to make content. Now we have to lie in it and sit up here and pretend like I've got good things to say. I got nothing to say to you people. What do you want from me? You want me to take my shirt off? Would that make you happy? Do you want me to do a jig? Do you want me to sing a fucking song? I can sing a song for you if you like. I got nothing. Like,
that's where I was after the Manly game. It just took you 2 more weeks.
But they won. The pricks. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't go out and win. And man, okay, let's be real. I want to talk about one thing. I want to talk about how Adam Doueihi is right now a better halfback for the West Tigers than Jerome Luai. I want to talk about that. I want to ask the question, and this is what I was saying in the preamble. So what I have some material. I want to know. Tanner Boyd came in relief for the Warriors. As you say, he played really, really well. Adam Dewey came in relief for the Tigers, played really, really well the week before.
Hmm.
What is what actually is the point of having marquee talent? Because time and time again, you see marquee talent underperform when the side is bad.
Hmm.
When the side is bad, it doesn't matter how much you spend on a player, it will not fix the team.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. Kalen Ponga has not fixed Newcastle, right? Jerome Luai has not fixed the Tigers. I'm sure you can come up with some examples where I'm wrong, where just a star has come into an abysmal roster and just.
It's rare. The most recent one is Adam Reynolds. And even then, it's been inconsistent and patchy at the Broncos.
I don't know if it's kind of different, right? Because Adam Reynolds isn't on huge coin. Adam Reynolds is actually a good example to my point here, which is there's a measurement that was invented by a sports journalist in America that they use in NBA, baseball, NFL, and it's a measurement called VORP. Are you familiar with VORP?
I am familiar with Vorp. Another one I want to throw at you is Stephen Crichton at Canterbury.
How much are they paying him?
Okay. So are you basing this on price? Because
Well,
both
VORP
because both
VORP
both Reynolds and Crichton are on 800K.
VORP stands for value over replacement player, right? So value over replacement player is a measurement that you firstly must have a benchmark for what you can expect a replacement level player to offer a team, right? A replacement level player is Tanner Boyd. A replacement level player is somebody who you can just grab from another team's New South Wales Cup side and put them in and have them do a job. A replacement level player at the Tigers might look like a Sione Fanu right now, and he's emerging into somebody a little bit better. It might be somebody like Charlie Staines, right? A replacement level player. Value over replacement level player is a collective score that aggregates all of the statistics relevant to a specific position that influence an outcome in order for you to go, this player's VORP is plus blah or minus blah.
Yep.
Right now, at this very second, Jerome Luai's stat lines for this season have him as a below VORP level player. He is producing worse than a replacement level player. That is what has happened. Kalen Ponga is producing worse than a replacement level player. As a club, as an organizer of an NRL team, I think it's time that the Tigers, the Titans, the Knights, and all of the other teams that are just consistently year after year underperforming and can't break through recognize that there is the only way to actually change your club's fortunes is not through signing stars at all. It's not. It's through getting high quality out of your replacement level players. It's very specifically unique to the NRL though, because in other sports in America, an NBA side can go to contenders just from getting like Luka Doncic, right? Like you can actually compete by bringing a superstar in. A superstar quarterback will come into a side and change its fortunes. In the NRL, I don't believe that it doesn't matter if it's a hooker, a halfback, a 5'8", or a fullback. There are only a very, very small number of players, and it's only the truly elite who will actually provide you with true value over a replacement level player that makes them worthy of paying a fortune to. And those are players who can win you a game on their own. On their own, right? Like, as in, they can make a play on their own. And not just one play, but to win a game on their own, they have to actually not only make one play, they have to make 3 or 4 plays a game on their own to win you that football game. There are very, very few players in the NRL. I could probably name them on one hand, right? Those players, those truly exceptional, completely game-breaking players, we have zero of. We would not have any benefit. I don't believe we would be any better or worse of a side if we ran out our New South Wales Cup side. I'm serious. I'm dead serious, because I don't think that there's that much of it. Look at what Tristan Hope is offering versus Api Coruscant right now. Look at what Adam Doueihi is offering versus Jarome Luai right now. What makes the West Tigers tick is how they fucking feel, what breakfast they eat in the morning, where the stars are in the sky. Like, there is just as much likelihood that they're going to win a game if you run out Brown's fucking cows, right? The only way out of this is not about putting stars on the field. It's about figuring out, it's coaching, to be honest. Because you can look at it. You can look at what Andrew Webster did with the Warriors when he took over the Warriors. He made a roster that was subpar, overperformed to a degree where now those players are all viewed as stars. You fucking switch their jerseys and you put them in the West Tigers, the result would reverse. It's coaching, it's morale, it's culture. These things are far more relevant, and it's because the NRL is a double-sided contest, i.e. everybody has to tackle and everybody has to attack. It's because the influence a back rower has on a game versus the influence a 5'8" has on a game is nowhere near as far apart as the influence a quarterback has on a game as an offensive lineman, right? It's much, much closer. Even a winger versus a prop, right? The impact that, look at Gerald Skelton puts more.
Absolutely, I get you.
So the point is that it's much better to have 17 6 out of 10 players on the field than it is to have 2 8 out of 10 players, a 9 out of 10, and then a whole bunch of 3s. You're gonna compete better. Well, especially, what I think is the biggest part of it, though, Jared, is the underappreciation that people have for defensive advanced stats in the NRL. So, and this is why we keep banging on about Bailey Hodges. Last week when we beat the Roosters, Tristan Hope made 0 missed tackles. Right? Adam Doueihi made almost all of his tackles. Jarome Luai and Api Coruscant are terrible defenders. You spend they're terrible defenders, mate. I don't like
Uppy's no good. I'll disagree on Jerome.
Jarome Luai is an effort defender. He's good at, like, you know, he'll get in the way and force the play to continue, but like it's not the same as being somebody like Ray Stone who touches a guy and they stop moving, right?
But what's there to say about the fact? What is one of the most important things that a halfback does defensively on that edge?
Well, I mean, if I'm looking for a halfback defender, I want somebody who isn't a complete target constantly. That's about it.
But what is their main job on that edge? As a halfback, you can see the shapes in front of you because you are the ones that call them, right? It is your job to see the cues the same way that you would see them when you are attacking. If you have a look at what Jarome Luai does, and yes, I agree that he has not performed to attacking standard, but watch Jarome Luai defend, and I'm not necessarily talking about when a 120 kilo back rower steams through, because yes, he does have to work on his contact. Have a look at the way that he goes about things. He will talk all day long, but he will also identify certain cues in the defensive line, and he will make his decisions in regards to whether or not he's passive or active. There are times when he will absolutely cut and make a beeline out of the defensive line. What are we looking at here?
That's the window right now. That's the sunset I'm looking at outside of the window, and that's the screensaver on my computer. How weird's that?
Yeah, it is. Let the record show that outside Brisbane sky is red. Nonetheless,
and so is my screensaver.
yes, and so are the West Tigers' chances of making the 8. It's over on the red side of the.
Look, I get what you're saying, Jared. Jerome stops plays sometimes. Yes.
So I guess what I'm sort of, you are talking about, obviously, tackle efficiency percentages, and I completely agree with you. What Tristan did defensively in the middle the other day was excellent. And, you compare it to Uppy's defensive output, and yeah, I'm right there with you. I agree. Uppy's got so much work to do on his contact and there.
Well,
and the way that he goes about it is very, very different. But we do not, just really quickly, we don't have the advanced statistics that the NRL and the Premier League and these sorts of things do in regards to,
we should have them.
I completely agree. But I believe that if you saw them, and I might have to hit up our old mate, the eye test, that you would see the sort of impact that Jerome Luai is having defensively down his edge in terms of the things that are happening. I don't think that Adam Dewey's improvement defensively, while a lot of it was attitude, I completely agree. Some of the reads that he has made have not been directly influenced by Jerome's arrival at the club.
So, make the argument, if you must, that Jerome Luai is not a net detrimental defender. Okay. In order for him to be justifying his position on the roster as the $1.2 million marquee man that he is, you can be a net neutral value as a defender, but you must be delivering 17, 18 try assists by now, probably 22 to 23 try involvements over the season.
I am totally with you. He has not lived up to salary expectation. But what is there to say about the fact that there are weeks when the forward pack, just like last week, don't show up? You know as well as I do that Adam Dewey and Latu Fainu had a field day against the Roosters because of the platform that Fanua Bole, Sione Fainu, and Terrell May laid for their halves partner.
That's fine. It's not. I'm not saying it's Jerome Luai's necessarily his fault, but I'm saying that when you're roster building and when you're trying to actually achieve success in a team, the $1.2 million player on your roster should be able to win you a game when other people don't show up.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. But ultimately, as a halfback, how often do you see that happen? Mitch Moses, albeit...
Which is why we shouldn't have signed him, is all I'm saying.
Okay, and that's fair enough.
So what I'm saying is that and the worst part about it is when you sign somebody in that situation, now we're stuck picking him every week. Because right now, you can't go, Jerome Luai, you're just underperforming. Sorry, bro, hit the showers. Because he's $1.2 million player, you're going to look like an idiot, get Benji Marshall fired because the optics of it. But if you instead of signing Jerome Luai, you went and signed, I don't know, Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd comes in and doesn't perform quite as well. Mate, right now, Tanner Boyd would do just the same job Jerome Luai's doing. If you had Tanner Boyd and he underperformed, just send him to New South Wales Cup. Who cares? You move on. You can continue to rotate things around. Put it this way. If you, instead of picking a top 17 and training, picking them to bring you points and to challenge other teams' attack, you decided that you wanted to just pick 1 to 17, the best defenders in their position in the NRL. That was your roster building mentality. I want the best value for money I can buy from a defensive perspective. You could fill half the side with New South Wales Cup players. And you might struggle to score 2 tries a game, but teams are going to struggle to score tries against you. Is that a better starting point from which to build off of? I would suspect so.
It's a really big philosophical question. I don't think that you really see much changes in philosophies or coaching philosophies or playing philosophies that you do in other sports. I'm a big.
It's a copycat league.
I'm a big fan of the EPL, right? And I agree with you there. But ultimately, the different styles. So, the teams that are a little bit shitter, they are, they'll play low blocks. They'll put a lot of players behind the ball. They'll try as best as they can to defend as best as they can. Keep the ball away from the box. hoof it out, start again, fucking absorb as much pressure as possible, and maybe on the off chance they've got a quick winger that on the break can fix it. Whereas you compare it to a Manchester City, they've got wingers, strikers, and sometimes often midfielders and even fullbacks up past the ball, with other players pushed inside to try and create overlaps. Whereas in the NRL, I agree with you. It's a copycat league. Who's the new and improved innovators? It's Canterbury. Everybody's trying to fucking run small forwards. Don't really care about sort of missing tackles, and they have this style where their attacking style isn't necessarily exciting. They just try and they'll either fall over the line or die in the attempt. And ultimately, if you're not Penrith or Melbourne, then you're all trying to recreate what the other teams are doing. I completely agree with you. Look, it's a wonderful question, and you always wonder about it. Like if you were to pick the players with the least try causes and the best tackle efficiency, and you're able to do enough video on them to see sort of their talk and their contact and their wrestle and those sorts of things, how would you go? And yeah, you'd hang in the contest for sure. Defense wins premierships, but there's also so many different variables that go into it. Obviously, in terms of fatigue levels and 50-50 calls and resilience, and ultimately all those different types of things. But nonetheless, yeah, you probably would be in games, and but
I'm talking about So I'm talking about from the perspective of making the right decisions for right now, and from the perspective of a struggling club, and a struggling club that's got to try to find a way to get to the next phase of improvement, and then the next phase of improvement, and then the next phase of improvement after that, and eventually get to the point where you not a flash in the pan. The West Tigers suffer from this curse of thinking that they can just magically whip up a premiership. It's not how it happens. We've been over this before. The problem that we have now is that we're kind of stuck, right? And you look at the impact that's already had, right? The impact that it's already had on our medium term, short term, even maybe if you think about it, success possibilities of having Jerome Luai in the roster, of having Api Coruscant at the club, of having Jareem Buller, right? Now we have lost Talon De Silva. We've lost Lachlan Galvin. Whatever. But the point is that in 2 years' time, next year, we don't have them and we still have these guys. And we are kind of hamstrung and we have to pick them. And who's the next player that's going to jump out of the ground that we're going to lose because of that? Having less is more talent on the roster, having average value players on the roster instead gives you this flexibility. And then what you find is your Canterbury. You mentioned Canterbury, right? What you find is your Canterbury, and your worry is that you can't win the grand final. Your worry isn't that you can't make the 8. Your worry is that you can't win the grand final, so you go and you take a punt on signing Lachlan Galvin to bring you some attack, which I might add, I think they have Buckley's chance of actually winning the grand final by making that move, because I just don't think Lachlan Galvin is good enough. But I digress. It's a better position that they're in than we were in. They signed Stephen Crichton 800k as their marquee talent. We signed Jerome Luai $1.2 million as our marquee talent. The value is the amount that each of those players are being paid has nothing to do with the actual impact that they have on the outcome of a game. It has to do on their value as it pertains to the perception of the impact that a good player in their position has on a game. Unfortunately, I believe that what we're seeing is that it's actually not that likely that a 7 or a 6 has more of a genuine impact on the outcome. I know this is going to sound crazy. More of a genuine impact on the outcome of a game than we actually think that they do. I genuinely think that if you put 12 of the other halfbacks that are running around in first grade jerseys in the West Tigers 7 jersey right now, they would give us at least the same outcome.
Yeah, I'm a rugby league purist. I think that the spine is extremely important to.
But the spine was even like, so this is, when did we start saying spine? That's a modern term.
Okay, well, before the spine, it was your halves.
But the modern game is way, way, way more team oriented. Like that's the thing. Like the
It is.
anyway.
But do Penrith win forget Jerome Luai at the Tigers. Do Penrith win 4 comps with anyone other than Luai and Cleary in those halves?
We shall never know. But like, I mean, Luai did get injured in one of those grand finals, and they still won. In fact, wasn't that the one that they came back from the clouds to beat Brisbane?
Yeah, true.
Brisbane won a grand final once with a guy named what's his face, Shane Perry, was it? In the halves, like.
But the rest of the side played for Queensland, so you can't.
Look, I think that like I actually have some notes here to kind of reinforce my point a little bit better. So I tried to actually do a bit of a VORP analysis of like players in the NRL that actually have like a value over replacement level player and stuff like that. It didn't come out exactly how I envisioned it. I didn't quite finish it off. But last year, Jerome Luai would have rated as a very, very, very high level VORP player. So when he played for Penrith last year, he was actually like delivering them insane value over replacement player. Not value over his own salary, I might add. Value over replacement player. Api Coruscant last year was delivering a lot of value over replacement player. This year, not so much. The number one VORP player in the NRL is Nathan Cleary. So it's you know, it is fair to say that when a halfback is a fucking gun, that they do actually have a massive impact on a game. But I feel like that the finding is that I feel like that the true insight is that once you fall into the pack, you're pretty much just a homogenous blob of quality halves, and that is a big list of players. And you could take any player like in that group and plug them into Melbourne or plug them into Penrith or plug them into, I don't know, what the Bulldogs, right? And they would be fine. But you take that player and you plug them into the West Tigers or the Titans and they will suck. So it says to me that there's more important elements when it comes to improving a team and getting wins and transforming a club into success than a star half or a star fullback. What that is up for debate. But my suspicion is that it's a coach. I think that the coach makes more of a difference than people want to believe.
Where are you at? Where are you at now with Benji?
Well, I think it's obvious that Benji Marshall is the worst NRL coach in the game right now.
Continue.
No, he's the least experienced. He constantly commits faux pas. He runs around on the training paddock acting like a goose. He doesn't know how to handle media conferences. People watch his media conferences and they're always like this. You can see some talent in him. The players like playing with him. Some of them, most of them, not all of them. But like he seems to have there's some elements there. But what do you expect from a dude who never even like did an apprenticeship? He was never an assistant coach. Cameron Ciraldo performed duties under 4 premierships or 3 premierships before he, and look at what happened. Andrew Webster was an assistant coach for a bloody decade before he got given an NRL jersey. Like I would struggle to name an NRL coach right now, aside from maybe like Des Hasler, who's maybe at the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Where he's got some real issues because he's just over it and just has no passion for it anymore. I think Benji Marshall's the worst NRL coach running around. Name one worse. So we have if you have a sliding doors moment, you bring Cameron Ciraldo to the West Tigers when we're going after him. The question that I wonder is, would he have fallen prey to the West Tigers' cultural problems, or you know what I mean? Like, is it coaching, or is it just front office administration? I feel like 1A, 1B, right? To me, it's like if you don't have a quality head coach and a quality office administration, i.e., ownership, not it's not the receptionists, it's the ownership, coach. That's it. You got those two things sorted out, you're laughing. You can put a team on the park that is, you know, solid, not spectacular, and make the finals. You can put a team on the park that, you know, is good enough that you can bring your star junior into first grade, and they won't like pack the shits and fuck off after 1 year. You can you can sign a good player and get $1.2 million out of a value out of an $800,000 signing. Head coach ownership. That's where I'm at. I think. I think you kind of almost have to have like 2 decades of misery as a Tigers fan to actually finally realize that, because that's kind of what we see. When we had Ivan Cleary, we were ninth-ish. Terrible ownership, not a very good roster. Ninth. Madge, we finished ninth. We trailed off there, but we have Madge, we have ninth. We didn't have a great roster. Quite a bad roster, in fact. No stars, but we were in the middle of the table with Madge. We're in the middle of the table with Ivan. Mate, like Benji Marshall, I don't know, like he's been here for this is his third season if you believe that he was truly in charge the year before last. And he might be about to have a third wooden spoon. I'm unfortunately think it might be the case. So
It's a very real proposition.
Benji's doing well. Paul, by what metric? What's the like? How do you measure a coach? How do you measure?
It's pretty simple. It's the win-loss column, but ultimately, look. I've seen buy-in from the players.
I'm getting jacked off by these comments, Jared. Like, it's the same old. Like, it doesn't matter every year. Like every year, like there's like, oh yes, no go forward. We don't have strike. No, now we've got strike, but we have no go forward. We're not getting enough out of the half. We're not getting enough out of the fullback. Our wingers can't come out of. We're not getting enough meterage out of our end from our wingers. Spammy. I've had it. Like it's. You know how what I feel like I went on my rant last week about the ownership. I think the ownership is I would probably say ownership is the 1A and the head coach is the 1B, right? Because I feel like that the reason why we didn't have Cameron Ciraldo is because of the ownership, if I'm being honest. Right?
You are correct.
So he didn't want to be here because he didn't want the infighting from the boardroom. He got warned by Ivan Cleary that it was a clusterfuck. Let's be honest. So, you know, it's 1A and then 1B, but Benji Marshall, how can you say he's doing well? I just don't know. I don't know by what measurement you could say he's doing well. Is it because of what Jerome Luai and Api Coruscant say to the media? Like, is that how we measure coaches' performances, by what their senior players say about them? I don't know. I don't think so. I think you measure coaches' performances by results. Who do you bring in as a coach, though? Well, funny you should mention that, because, like, in reality, we have two assistant coaches under Benji Marshall that are actually, like, more experienced coaches. No, I'm not saying that we should move on to John Morris or Brett Hodgson. What my opinion is, in terms of, like, what I would do to resolve this issue, has more to do with, like, selling the club to somebody who knows how to fucking run it. But, like, we're obviously not going to have that problem. So that brings me to, unfortunately, where I'm at, which is, I don't fucking know, man. I'm a podcaster.
It is hard now, because ultimately, you know, a lot of the pieces are in place, or at least seemingly in place. I know that we can talk about the difference in
Seemingly.
terms of the ownership, but ultimately the independent board was to keep Holman Barnes Group away from it for the most part, to dilute their influence. Um,
Mm.
but ultimately, yes, they do provide a lot of the resources, but that's why Shane Richardson's had to try and run it on a shoestring to try and turn a profit, so that way we can pour more money into the football department. Though that's a conversation for another day. But regardless, you know, compared to where we were 5 years ago, I think that, you know, corporate governance and the ownership model is in a far better position. It's not perfect, but it's in a better position. The playing roster, hands down, is the best playing roster we've had since probably 2014. Realistically,
Mm.
it is the best that we've had.
Mm.
I understand that we've had disruptions around Galvin, absolutely, but Benji is really running out of rope. And, you know, I say this as a person that sincerely hopes that it works. I love the bloke. How couldn't I? He gave me so much joy as a fucking child. But he is very, very quickly running out of rope. There are people that are beginning to question Shane Richardson. And you know what? At this point, you know, when you start losing, everybody starts questioning things. It can be really, really difficult. And obviously, that's where you are too. I mean, I was there a couple of weeks ago as well, saying I don't have any answers anymore or any ideas. And as you say, we're podcasters. We just come on here to sort of, talk to our community and the people that listen to us, and you know, we're extremely grateful for that. But ultimately, I don't think that this club and Shane Richardson's ego will sit on their hands. I was told the other day that they are quite sick of losing. And ultimately, you know, the most important thing, as you say, beyond ownership is that one being it's the coach. And Benji is very quickly running out of time.
I just think
As simple as that.
I just think that like it's easy. I understand why people watch the games and still try to unpack the players on the field and go, you know, if May ran harder or Ronnie or Bolle didn't drop the ball a couple of times or had a better game, then you know maybe we would have won the game or whatever, performed better or whatever. But like when you see it year in year out, week after week, season after season, doesn't matter who's in the jersey, and it's just the same old, like circle of crap that we keep lamenting. You take this player out, you bring this player in. We bring in Isaiah Papali, reigning Daily M back rower of the year. He performs like crap. Out he goes. Bring in John Bateman, international play, performs like crap. Out he goes. Like, I just think that it's pretty transparently obvious to me that the club has an issue that goes far beyond players and has had for a very, very long time. So, like, as a person who like is passionate fan of the club that like you know has decided to go and create a situation where they have a platform, i.e., a podcaster, it makes it challenging because I know that like feeding the beast and talking about off-field shit is actually like net detrimental. It does not help. And trying to keep things focused on the field and on the players is probably like, you know, the right thing to do for the long-term success of the club. But it's also a hiding to nothing. It's like sticking myself in front of a crowd to try to like appease a crowd, and I got nothing. Like it's like, hello my baby, hello my honey, hello my ragtime. I have fucking nothing. Like sell the fucking club. But let me put it this way, right? So like it's what I said. I was like, the more I watched the NRL, the more I realized that the distance between a superstar and an average player is so much narrower than people think it is. That's the truth. It's so much narrower. Like the distance between Jamal Fogarty and Nathan Cleary is trivial. Honestly, it's trivial. When you think about team system as an influence, the distance between a good team system and a bad team system is cavernous, yawning gap, right? The distance between a Craig Bellamy and a Wayne Bennett and a Benji Marshall is just cavernous because the influence that those two guys have and the influence that a system has on the performance of an individual player is just astronomically bigger than the influence that an individual player has on a system, right? And the influence that a system and a coach has on 36 players plus the rest of the club and the pathways and the media and the perception is just astronomical compared to the influence a single player has. So if you can't fix it doesn't matter what individual player that you plug into a system. If the system and the coach are not actually performing well, it just won't. It's like pissing in a pool. But the good clubs understand this because they don't mortgage themselves to players unless they're a genuine solo match winner, right? Look at Penrith. They refused. We ain't mortgaging ourselves to Jerome Luai. They've won 5 games in a row, 6 games in a row. They're gonna make the finals, probably win the fucking premiership again. They coming home like a freight train, buddy. Here they come, the Penrith Panthers. 5P. It's on. I certainly wouldn't back any team against them right now. Out goes Stephen Crichton, out goes Jerome Luai, out goes James Fisher-Harris, and the show goes on because the only person that they mortgage themselves to is Nathan Cleary. He's the only player. One player, solo match winner. The rest is the coach and the system. Sure, they had a rough start to the year, but they figured it out mighty fast, didn't they?
And they did, my friend.
And now on they roll. Melbourne, they don't mortgage themselves to players either. They let people walk, like that. But they're not as good at it as Penrith. You can tell they've over-indexed on their spine at the moment, and that's you can see it's costing them in their pack, trying to like find reachy answers to compete with Penrith by bringing in players like Stefano Utukamanu. Bad signing for them, terrible signing for them. Like, is it bad signing? Like, but that's where they're at because they're like in the top 4 trying to compete with Penrith. The Bulldogs are now in the top 4 trying to compete with Penrith. Like, how do we do this? It's because Penrith have the system and they have the head coach and they have 1 star and that's the only thing they care about. Everything else is recyclable, replaceable. How do we get to there? Well, Jesus Christ, what a challenge that's shaping up to be, isn't it? Like, and I'll tell you, if I really got given that challenge, like if it was just like, you know what, you talk a big game, motherfucker, here it is. I'm going 10-year plan, right? Phil Gould does his 5-year plans, right? Like it's not wrong because the I guess the head coach pathways moving into the system, like how do you get the most out of that, the 300k, the 400k, the 500k players? I feel like that's what Phil Gould worries more about. And it doesn't worry about the Lachlan Galvin signings and this and that until he's already in the top 4 and trying to figure out how to get the cup. So to me, you know, we've gone ass backwards on it. We've gone out and gone, so I can get Jerome Luai and see if he can cover up the deficiencies that we have in our head coach and our ownership group. It's not really the way, I don't think. So here we are, and it's a depressing reality that we face because I don't think Benji Marshall's going to be the coach of the West Tigers next year. I don't think so. And I think if Benji Marshall isn't the coach of the West Tigers next year, I don't know if Jerome Luai will be here for much longer either. That's a conversation that we can probably have.
Yeah, we'll have that conversation in the coming weeks when the time comes. Ultimately, we've not wasted, but we've discussed for the last 55 minutes very philosophically what comes next and who's to blame and all those different things, but it's probably time we have a look at what is coming up in the immediate future, and that's the game at 2 o'clock on Sunday.
Oh, we're going to win for sure.
Spoon Bowl 1.
Leichhardt Oval, Titans. How we?
You feel this now. Oh, if this Titans team clicks, you'll feel it even more. Sania Taruva remains at the back. There were some question marks as to whether or not Jerome Buller was going to be back this week. He is not. We talked about it earlier. Taylor May will start at left centre. The rest of the side is pretty much the same, apart from the fact that in the back row there's some changes, some forced, some otherwise. Samuel Fainu is out with a knee problem. He is not even in the extended squad. Alex Seyfarth takes his place on the left edge. Tony Sukar remains on the right. Adam Dewey is at lock, which we will talk about in a little bit. And the bench has changed a little bit, obviously, with Dewey reverting to lock. Alex Twal starts in the front row. Fanua Bole goes to the bench. With the Titans, basically the report came out today that they are giving Des Hasler 2 more games so that way he can hit his 500 games coaching in the NRL. Then he's riding off into the sunset. I'm going to read out the Titans team because on paper it's fucking spectacular. And quite frankly, if they click, you can be very, very worried. The fullback, Alexander Brimson. The wingers, Jalen, may I interest you in a De Groot and Philip Sami, Brian Kelly and Jojo Fafita, the centres, Kieran Foran, the old dog, Jaden Campbell, the young buck, 5'8" and halfback. Forward pack, Moaki Potawaka, Sam Verrills, Regan Campbell-Gillard, Chris Randall, Beau Fermor, Tino Fa'a, Sua Malaawi. The bench, Alofiana Khan-Pereira is at 14. That scares the fuck out of me. Jamin Jola, 15. David Fafita, 16. Cleese Haas, 17. Look, I think that, I'll be really quick, I think that our game plan is simply hold the fort the first 20 to 25 minutes. Adam Dewey, hold on for dear life. And then once Sione and Fanua get on, hopefully kick the door down, score some points, win the fucking football game. Simple as that. Excited to see Adam at 13. And you know, obviously how Taylor May returns. We've spoken ad nauseum about how we feel about him as a bloke, but on his day, he's a damn good footballer. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Other than that, just fucking come home with 2 points. Otherwise, next week's going to be even tougher.
Yeah. What you said. Good stuff. Tigers. Up the fucking dog. Taylor May. It's Look, I mean, I don't think he played very good in the New South Wales Cup game. He just went nuclear in the last 8 minutes. It was kind of funny. Like he was kind of dominated. Didn't really. His post contact meters was bad. His meters per carry is bad. Christian Mapapalangi came on the field in the second half of that game and just completely unlocked that whole left edge. Honest to God, Heath Mason. Oh, the less I say about Heath Mason, the better. But when Christian Mapapalangi came on and replaced Heath Mason at 6, mate, that whole side just started singing. We won that second half against a team in New South Wales Cup that had lost one game, 16-0. And it was pretty much Heath Mason off, Christian Mapapalangi on, and that was pretty much the main difference. And then Taylor May on the left was just getting fed space. And for a while, he was trying to play within the structure and feed Tui Tupu, who just had a horrible game and just butchered every chance that he was given. And in the last 10 minutes, Taylor was just like, nah, I'm just going to just try to score every time myself. And he did, every time. Got the ball with enough space. One of them, it was a nice dummy to Tui Tupu that freaking wing a bit, got enough space to get around the centre to try. Another time it was like Tui Tupu threw like a Hail Mary back inside because he ran out of space and Taylor just got it and just beeline for the try and put his head down and scored. It was good finishing. That
was my first thought. He's just no self-preservation, speed and power, and can finish in multiple different ways. He can crash over the line. He can he can work with very little space near the corner post. Yeah, it's exciting.
It's good finishing. Yeah, that is exciting. Like I think Taylor just you can see that he has just a little bit more I don't know, quality about him. He'll definitely be a better left centre than Dewey. There ain't no doubt about that. And I think that our left edge attack has been very poor, primarily due to the fact that we have Adam Dewey there. And now Adam Dewey's moving from the left edge to the middle, where he's been really good. So kind of frustrating that we wait until round 20, whatever it is, of his final year with the team, probably. Maybe he'll get a 1-year extension, but to put Adam Dewey at 13, which I feel like most people who have half a clue have been saying should have been happening when he was 22. But a lot of people go, he's not a good enough defender, this or that. It's it's a completely different ball game defending in the middle. He's a big guy, stand there, right? Stand in front of somebody. The Dewey's issues in defense have always been lateral movement. Anyway, waffling a little bit. I
We'll
I
see
I
what
don't know
happens.
I don't know what to make of the Titans. Like the Titans are a side who 1 week, I wouldn't be surprised if I watched them flog the best team in the NRL. They're totally capable of it on any given day, but it seems like they're a little bit like us. They're coming up against the Tigers at Leichhardt. I think the crowd. It's going to be up to the crowd. Like, if the crowd go in there with the baying for blood and get the side, it'll be less about the Tigers and more about the Titans, right? Like if the Titans sort of just shit themselves under the Leichhardt pressure, the Tigers might just roast them. But it can go the other way pretty easy too, because if the Titans show up and they score the first try or swing a couple good punches, the Leichhardt crowd can start to feel very hostile towards the home team. We've seen that happen before too, and then they can put the home team in the pit of despair. So I think the crowd's going to play a big factor here.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I have no idea how this game goes, but all I'll say is that I am less confident than I was going into last week. And even then, I was sort of felt 50-50. So I am less confident this week, just simply because of you just know what it's like. This reminds me of another pit of despair match where we played the Titans at Leichhardt, and it was Robbie's first game back, and we
Round
were
one.
no, it was against it was midway through 2018, and we were
Oh,
dog
okay.
shit, or 2019. Anyway, wait and see. Good luck to the boys on the weekend.
Wait a sec. Speaking of Titans, there was an interesting fact that I think that I saw on Twitter. It might have been on Twitter.
Oh yes, I know the one.
The current halfbacks of the top four teams in the NRL are
Mm,
all Titans discards. How
yeah,
crazy is that?
absolutely insane.
But doesn't that go to show my point? Like you can literally just manufacture a quality half if your system, your head coach is good. Look at how far the Dogs have got with Sexton. Look at how far. Well, I know Tanner Boyd's a bit of a throw in. Jamal Fogarty, has turned the corner at Canberra. Like these are players that maybe the trick here is go after Tom Weaver because he's now on the extended bench again. The Titans have just fuck off, Tommy. We don't need you. We're gonna go with what do they got? Is it? Yeah, Jaden Campbell at 7 because that's worked every time.
We'll see what happens. Let's see what happens. All right. The game against the Warriors in New South Wales Cup, you spoke about a little bit quickly. I just want to know about Hiamasi Makasini, like most of our listeners
Mm.
do. What do you got there?
I don't want to say nice things about juniors because it just means that they end up leaving. Nah, he was incredible, honestly. For a second, first 80 minutes in open age footy, um, mate, I couldn't fold him, and especially because he was on his wrong side. He's a left-sided centre. Put him on the
Mm,
right, made all these tackles, smash dudes. Like he didn't get much good ball. He didn't really get. There wasn't really any attacking shape that went through him. Um, but in terms of coming out of yardage, he drew 3 penalties coming out of yardage because it takes that many players to deal with him, and they couldn't roll away quick enough because he's that quick to his feet. Puts the defense under pressure every time he has the ball, and you can see that like in SG ball, like the opposition game plan was pretty much just like 95 guys on Marcy. That will win the game, and it was kind of correct. As he goes through the grades, obviously defenses have to account for more other players that are of quality that are threats. So it'll open him up more as he goes through the grades, and you can already see in New South Wales Cup that they're going to try to do a number on him because he's too hard for them to stop. Once he hits NRL though, he won't have that problem. Teams will have to account for the winger outside of him or whatever. So he's going to be a freak, mate. He's going to be a real good player. I can't wait to see him line up for the Sydney Roosters in 2027. It's going to be sick. He's,
Anything else you want to make mention of in the Cup game before we jump to flag?
mate, it's a good. We got good depth here. Like I think that I actually, I think I might have made some remarks about Richo last week that maybe he's a bit washed or whatever, but I feel like if there's one person at the club that kind of understand the long term strategy that might actually help, it's what he's doing with our depth.
Well, that's good.
Because you can see that Mapapalangi and Tui Tupu and Elzakham and Rami and like, and he cycles and like whatever they've got Payne doing with he just cycle players through until he found performers. And then now it's like, okay, we've got actually good depth here. Like, I mean, we went toe to toe with a side that had only lost one game in New South Wales Cup. So that middle part of our like full pathways, that like New South Wales Cup system is now there and it's successful. It's going good. So
Look, Richo reckon, I've been told this in a couple of different places, that he only thinks we're only a couple of signings away from having a side that can properly fucking hump. Now, obviously, the Adam Dewey experiment at 13 speaks to the fact that they are looking for a lock. We spoke about Tino last week. They've made inquiries. Making inquiries and actually getting a player across the line are two totally different things. But nonetheless, they have shitloads of money in the cap and they want a big kill. They also want to, fill the squad out with some experience and some tradesmen that can get the job done. I agree with you. I think that he is building this squad really nicely. It's just obviously, again, the questions around the coach and obviously whether or not the money will be well spent and spread around the squad in later times. And obviously that falls around guys like your Spine, your Luais, your Coruscaws, your Bullers, and by extension, Latu Fainu, who one day will be worth a mint.
yeah.
But I agree with you. I think they are slowly building it up, and you can see that in terms of, if it was 2023 again, Jared Haywood would have debuted by now, really. Ninja probably would have played on the wing at some point for Cup, at least a handful of times. The Tautuas to be named in the 22-man squad for the NRL side this week.
Yeah, you're so correct.
And Solomon Sakura would have already played 10 games and 10 NRL games, and we all would have written him off. So I agree. There is certainly something there to speak of. And look, I mean, God, there are some people that think that Richo doesn't have it, but no, I am unwavering in my faith of that man. But
everything you said there is remarkably accurate. Oh man, no, they've named a good side. Have they? Heath Mason's at fullback this week.
All right, yeah, okay. I've got a bone to fucking pick here. Why are we moving players? We won how many was it? We went 6 or 7 games. We lost 1. And what did we have? We had, sort of Naden at the back, Mapapalangi and Falls in the halves. And, before, it was De Silva, and then it was Joe Lovadua. And I know that Joe Lovadua had a shocker last week. But nonetheless, we're fucking around with things again. Why are we doing that? Why is Christian playing centre because that's what Benji and Richo want? Or is that just Aaron Payne making changes for the sake of making changes?
Well, Mapapalangi's on the extended bench in first grade, so the story with Mapapalangi is that he's in and around selection for first grade, right? Like, they wouldn't put him on the extended bench if he wasn't. I know they put a few other guys. El Zackham had a week on the bench and stuff like that, but so I think, and I saw Mapapalangi in some training footage. It's kind of wild to me that they actually had Mapapalangi off the bench to start last week, because he feels to me like one of the most likely guys in this New South Wales Cup side to actually end up a decent first grader, and to have just shunted him back to the bench to facilitate Heath Mason and Brent Naden was just wild. But anyway,
I couldn't fathom that either. My only question mark around Christian is simply his defence. I think he's all right. I think he's better defending at 6 from what I've seen. It's just his issue. His issues lie defending on edge. But if he can fix those, there's a player there.
There's 2 players at the club who I have grave concerns about, and it's not because I think they suck. It's because I think that Benji's in love with what he thinks that they might be able to do. One is Luai, and the other is Mason. We've moved players to accommodate Heath Mason. That's what's happened here. This side was rolling without him and rolled when we took him off last week, and we forced him into it. I mentioned on X when I was doing the New South Wales Cup breakdown, it's a very strange player to kind of unpack what he truly is, because when he has the ball in his hand, looks more dangerous than most other players, especially in this level at New South Wales Cup.
Yeah,
He gets his hand on the ball and he beats the first man a lot, and he's faster. He's like, it seems like he's processing. Maybe that's the wrong word. Maybe it's not that he's processing quicker. It seems like that he's moving faster than everybody else, but he's processing not as fast as he can move, right? He's like, you know how they say players have a lot, like good players have a lot of time? Mason's like the opposite. Reminds me a lot of what Tim Moulton looked like. Remember with Tim Moulton? Like, they gave Tim Moulton all the chances in the world because he was fast and he had a lot of athletic talent, and obviously probably did a lot of crazy good shit at training and stuff. But then when he came on the field, it just seemed like the game was too fast for him mentally a lot of the time. And I get that the same impression from Mason. But the thing that bothers me about Mason, and it's every time I've seen him play in New South Wales Cup, and it doesn't show up so much in NRL, it's his body language, his facial expressions, and the way other players seem to respond to his place on the field. He doesn't play inside of the structure at all. I don't think he's had a try assist since I've seen him. Like, I don't think I've seen him, and
I'm with you there. He's lost it. He's lost his ability to ball play and create points for other players.
Yeah, and I feel like that it's so simple what you need from him sometimes, and he tries so hard to be like he's a hero ball kind of guy, and I hate it. I don't know what's got into him, but I personally would be like, flag for the rest of the year and we'll reassess in the off season, because I just don't like what he's bringing to any of the teams that. It's just madness to me that you take him off and you bring Mapapalungi on and you beat the team that's coming first that's lost one game 16-0 in the half, and suddenly all their points dry up, and you just go back and you pick him at fullback again. It just shows to me that they're playing favourites. And to me, to your point, that's got to be coming from Benji, right? Like, because Payne wouldn't have a boner for Mason because Payne's barely seen him all year. Payne would have his guys. He's got his dudes. He knows he would know what team's winning. He'd know what players are performing.
Yeah.
It'd have to be Mason. And Mason's been given so many chances to be the backup fullback in first grade, and now he's lost that spot to Taruva. And I think I made a point a couple of weeks ago. I'd make an argument that Mason would be the fifth or sixth best fullback at that club, maybe lower. Like, because we don't see some of these other guys be given the same amount of chances. Like, is he truly a worse fullback than Tino Tavana? Tino Tavana can't even get the fucking fullback jersey off of Logan Deninja in flag, which is a completely different problem. But, like, is he a better fullback than Charlie Staines? I don't think so. Is he a better fullback than Brent Naden? I don't think so. Is he a better fullback than Sunia Taruva? No. Is he a better fullback than Luke Lalali'i? I don't think so. The short minutes that Luke Lalali'i played fullback in the first grade side the week Buller got hurt, I think it was the week Buller got hurt that we saw Luke playing fullback. I thought he played better than Mason. That's my.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw from Luke as a fullback in the first grade side.
I agree with you. I thought he was great there, but again, I wonder now if, you know, I sit back now with Mapapalungi being named in the extended squad, Lauliti on a wing, like, you know, maybe they're now going, okay, and like Mason at one, maybe they're sort of thinking, all right, Aaron, we're just going to override you now. We need these blokes to develop in these certain positions. Even though I don't think Heath's a fullback, I think Heath's best served being a 9, to be honest. But
mate, yeah, I think Heath Mason's gonna be one of those players that ultimately, if they had have identified early on what his ceiling was and shaped him into that player early on, be a very good player, right? Yeah. Like the version of the best example of a player who had that was Craig Wing. Like, Craig Wing got identified as what he was super early on in his career. And they tried to play him at 7, and they tried to play him at fullback, and they tried to
Yeah.
actually make him a starter. But they didn't do it forever. They pulled the pin on that experiment super early on in his career. And the Roosters played him as a 14 and a 9 when their 9 was not in the side. And he became a freaking star Origin player as a 14. If they had have tried to force Craig Wing to be a 6 for as long as the West Tigers seem to keep doing to some of the players that we've seen over the years,
he wouldn't have had this.
Nah, exactly.
He was such a good player, Craig Wing. I fucking love a good utility. Blaine says that Heath also wants to be a 14. Yeah,
That's
he does.
what I've heard. That's what you've told me.
He said it. They just need to give him the fucking reps. For God's sake, stop killing the kid's career and look after him. And I agree. Look, he goes down to Cup and he looks even worse.
He doesn't play well in Cup.
There's something that needs to be fixed there. Maybe he does need flag. I don't know, but yeah, they need to strip it right back with Heath because there's a player there. He's Australian schoolboy, and he's had some great games in first grade. That game where we played South at the back end of last year was one of the worst games of first grade I've ever seen. But he was great tonight. He does have upside, but yeah, they've got to put a lot of work and time into him. Speaking of flag, I don't really want to spend much time on it because it's a very, very typical Tigers-esque performance, and there was some weird shit that happened. But none less than the fact that 4 tries in 8 minutes were scored to see us sink 44-42. But to give you an idea, between minute 1 to from minute 10 to minute 70, so in a 60-minute period, we scored 40 points. 40 points, and we still lost. It was one of the craziest games you'll ever see. Now, look, Jared Haywood got binned for repeat infringements which really hurt us. Jack Nicklaus.
That's why we lost.
Jack Nicklaus went off with a HIA. Logan Deninja, I think, was ruled out an hour before kickoff. There was a lot of really weird shit that happened in this game. But I'll be honest with you, I was really bullish on these boys' chances, and this was a game that they just simply had to win. We sit here now, and their job of making. If it is top 5, they're 6 points away. They're 3 wins away from the top 5. There's a lot of work to be done there. Goodness gracious me.
It's a shame because they're definitely a top 4 side.
And this is the disappointing thing. Once they sacked Lord Alipe and they brought in Shane Sultana, they have been a top 5 caliber side. The teams that they've beaten and played against, the scalps that they took. Beating the Sharks and beating Canberra on the bell last week. They went toe-to-toe with the Dogs in a game where the scoreline flattered the Bulldogs. They're not going to be able to play finals, I don't think, unless, it really starts again this week against the Panthers. But
isn't it madness that Zachary Clark is playing 5/8 for the Penrith flag side? That's madness.
Look, we'll see what happens. Yeah, and he is absolutely ripping it up, might I add.
Oh.
They're a very good team. There's some good players in that side. Jack Carter, Girard Lydia is a good one. Zachary Clark, who you touched on. Tyson Sengerling's a gun. Their back rower, keep an eye on him. There's some good players in that side. Big test for our boys, but we'll see. Look, the positives. Iverson Matai had one of those games again where everything he touches turns to gold. He was amazing in regards to creating points. I thought before his sin binning, Jared Haywood was excellent again. And Solomon Osekuru's development in the back row is really, really continuing along nicely. But and Josh Folletti, who was admittedly on the way out, had a good game too. But yeah, this one's going to sting for a little while, I think. Yeah, it's actually insane how they lost this one.
There's a guy in the Penrith reserve grade team who has a very interesting name. His name is Sione Fonua. So we've got Sione Finu, 2 Sione Finnaus, a Sione Fonua.
Yeah. Do you want to know a story about the Sione?
There's a Finau Latu and a Latu Finu.
Sione Fonua, I believe, was playing for, it might have been Parramatta when he was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and he was the next big thing coming through. He's a freak, right? I think there was injuries, or fell by the wayside. Might have even been the pandemic, actually. He put on that much weight. He's always been an outside back. He put on about 40 kilos, something ridiculous, and ballooned out to about 130.
Right.
Something ridiculous. Anyway, it was similar to, the Tim Johansson story. He trialled somewhere and then, sort of stripped the kilos back, had a good preseason and went from like Sydney Shield up to New South Wales Cup within the space of a few weeks. Uh, he's a bloody good footballer. um, and another one that shares, he is our 15 and 16 in first grade this week, Sione Final for Nuwabole. But look, tough games for both our pathway sides this week for sure. And the girls, we haven't really touched on the girls. The game against the Broncos, they were sort of at the races early and then they got outclassed. Brisbane definitely didn't play their best. They looked like a side that was definitely playing round one, but the girls weren't great that week. And then last week against the Dogs was absolutely a missed opportunity. They'll play the Titans this week at Leichhardt in a curtain raiser to the first grade match. Hopefully, anyone who is going to Leichhardt, get down there early and support the girls because my God, do they need it? They desperately need a win.
Mate, they played great against the Para. Was it Para? No, Dogs. Yeah, they
Dogs.
played. They like I thought that they were very unlucky not to win that game. It's such a weird league, the NRLW, because the Tigers are pretty much running out like comparable to the Broncos. It'd be like watching the NRL Broncos playing against the West Magpies or like the Flegg side or something. Like the Tigers team is they got Kessie Apps, who I'll touch on this in a second. They got Kessie Apps, they got Togatuki, and then they've just got like nobody. They've got 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and it's like, for one, it pisses me off because like if I'm at the West Tigers and the football administration, if I'm like Richo or Matt or whatever, I'm looking at it and I'm going, that is a league that should be really easy to compete in. Just care, right? And bring some pride to the jersey, fill the Zurich with some winners. Go sign some stars, mate. Just throw some money at them. Like Jess Surges was a Tiger. She played in the New South Wales Premiership winning side when we won the comp. Go, just outbid them. Just give us some money. Like what, $9 million Holman Barnes Group profit. Go fucking spend it on the NRLW side. Surround Kessie and Sarah with some good players, and just go win the comp. Just buy the comp. It's a comp you could buy. Like you fully could easy just do it. It's just crazy to me. Like Noddy's a good enough coach to freaking coach a side if you just go sign a couple more Origin players and you'll be fine. It's not a hard comp to just freaking like buy, and it'd be great for the club. Anyway, on Kessie,
What fun.
I feel like Kessie, she it's like watching dad play with the kids. Like she's like sits back and she's like, oh God, let him have a go. Oh fuck it, I'll get the ball. And I go. You see that try she scored, man?
No. Bang.
She's just like, I'm sick of this shit, and just gets the ball. And she's a forward, and it was like watching the big kid in under 12s, mate. She just steamrolled, but she just sits back too much. You know what I mean? She sits like
she's got to inject herself,
mate. Just put the 7 jersey on her back. Lucy's the same size as her.
I love Luciana, but I just try and get Kessie as close to the ball.
Like I mean, it's fun to watch, but it's a league that's still kind of at the point where it's a bit. You could meme your way to wins in that league if you wanted to. I think I mentioned on the West Tigers forum, like the Tigers have Sarah Togatuki, who cannot be stopped when she gets a head of steam. Kessie Apps, who cannot be stopped when she has a head of steam. Lutu, who's the biggest 7 comparable to the rest of the league of any 7 I've ever seen. She is bigger than our front row. Like she is and she's talented. She's a skillful player. She probably should be playing 13, not 7, but we don't have a 7. Mate, literally, Sarah, Kazi, Lutu, every set. Run after the other, and then watch the defenders skittle like 10 pins, and then you've got Evie and Chelsea. Chelsea and Evie are great. They both played in a really, really good New South Wales Premiership Dragons side that won a comp a couple of seasons ago. Very good young talent. They both play New South Wales under-19s Origin. Very, very good players. Mate, you just skittle them. And Christian Pierre is not a bad forward either, to be honest. She's like,
she goes good.
And then to top it off, like, I actually think that the Tigers have some really good young players. I was really impressed with Clifford, the back rower. I think she's got a lot of potential.
And I think Evie's good as well. I think Evie might be a centre. I know that she's playing left side half, but yeah, I think just with her pace off the mark, if you want to play a comp, she reminds me a little bit of Ethan Strange without the sort of rough and tumble. She's quite quick. You know, she's
still young and small, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
When she gets a little bit older, she'll get a little bit tougher and meaner, and she'll have taken enough knocks that she'll just like revel in the contact and stuff. She's a good player, but yeah, I just think that Kezi and Sarah are so far ahead of the rest of them that you just fucking if they don't if you go a set of 6 and Kezi Apps doesn't take a hit up, like Noddy should just be like tearing strips off them. Like, Kezi, you need to be taking 15 carries a game. Sarah has to be taking 15 carries a game. Kezi shouldn't be in the back row in this side. She should be in the middle. Like, she needs to be playing prop. She plays prop. She plays prop for bloody New South Wales sometimes. Like, I don't know why they get. And when you play her in the back row, suddenly you have to actually have shape to get her the ball. So you then over-rely on Lutu and McGrath, who are young halves that are trying to figure out how to play. And if she's in the middle, it's just one off the ruck. And she can ball play. And like, it's just silly. It's a meme league that they should be able to meme their way to more wins. But they try to play too much like an NRL side. And it's like, Noddy, mate, just coach them like they're an under-16s team. I know it's a little bit degrading, but like they would like it more if they won. I'm telling you, it's a winning game plan.
They'll improve, that's for sure. Anyway, any questions to touch on before we say goodbye, or you're not in the mood for it? What are you thinking?
Oh, I'm in the mood.
Let's get it.
We got some. I think like the rants we went on got some questions there. Let's just go from the bottom up though, because most recent stuff. So we got Blaine says Montana Clifford was unreal. I agree, Blaine. Is there a May Finu sister or girlfriend we can sign? I don't know.
Sammy was seeing one of the girls in the women's side. I can't remember which one, but no, I know that there's a May sister, but yeah, I don't think she plays footy. What else we got?
Inglis is it's not a question, but Inglis is on the coaching roster of the NRLW. Isn't that a coup? Man, you got Greg Inglis. Imagine being an NRLW player that's like just, probably still a PT by day, and you're getting trained by fucking GI. Hey guys, what's the skinny on Royce? Mate, Royce is not skinny. That is a weird phrasing. I think Royce Hunt might retire at the end of the season, just quietly. That's my prediction.
Maybe. I guess we'll see. Yeah, look, just wasn't living up to expectation, playing to expectation. He had some moments, particularly in that Cowboys game, that obviously Benji wasn't too happy with. We'll see. Who can we fish for as a sponsor?
Talking about us as a podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Surely one of you blokes runs a bloody, like, is a tradie or has a small business or something. Just chuck your business name in the chat, and you can be our sponsor for the last 2 minutes of this segment. We've got Galvin replacing Sexton this week. What do you think of that?
Couldn't care less. Hope they lose.
Oh, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, I think that I watched NRL 360 last night, and I know that in the weeks prior, NRL 360 has been very, very opposed to what the Bulldogs are doing, forcing Galvin in there. Very defensive of Marnie, very defensive of Sexton. Braith and Astor has been all about the roster not being fucking. Buzz was like, all off it. Last night, complete 180. Ain't no 360. Complete 180. They're all about Galvin now. And it's because the Bulldogs won, which I find strange. So the Bulldogs won, but they didn't win well enough. The attack wasn't great, but they won. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because it's like they think they can't win a grand final. Like the stat that was called out by Braith was like the Dogs have scored less points than Manly, the Dolphins, the Warriors. Like, can they win a grand final without scoring points? And it's like, well, I tell you what, Lachlan Galvin, I wouldn't say that Lachlan Galvin is going to just come in and just suddenly create 3 tries a game. I know Toby Sexton's only had like 2 or 3 tries this year or something crazy. I was like maybe a few more than that. But I just don't know. I feel like that it's a coin flip as to whether Lachlan Galvin gives you enough attacking punch to offset the damage that he's going to cause to the cohesion of the side otherwise, between the 20s in defence, which is what I think was the knock on him in the first couple of weeks that he came into the side. Like the shape was all wrong. The defensive combinations got broken. So I don't know. I would be laying the fuck out of the Bulldogs. What do you think? Do you think that the Dogs still have a chance to win the comp this year?
No.
Low-key, who do you think's going to win?
Melbourne.
Oh, you think Melbourne?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Brisbane.
Oh, don't say that.
Which is madness because I remember preseason.
You were death riding.
I saw. I don't know what was it. It was something last week. I think it was like when they had that comeback win. That's right. The comeback against it was against the Dogs, wasn't it? When they had the comeback win.
Yeah.
I watched it and I was like, oh no. Like that's like you could just see the click in all of their good players. And it's just like, oh, that's how we score tries. I forgot. It's like, oh no. And you just know they have you just know they just have so much class in that side. For that side, it's just a matter of figuring it out. My
friend, for sure.
Yeah, what's crazy about the Broncos is I feel like the Broncos would still be good without Haas. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that they'd still be good without Haas. Like, they've got enough. Willison and Carrigan, like, as 2 like benchmark middles. Mate, if I was the Broncos, I'd be trying to get rid of Haas. I feel like Haas is a little bit like what Luai is going to end up being like to us.
You're fucking crazy. Move on.
I would try to get rid of him because I just feel like that he's going to just be a salary cap headache that they're going to like what Taumalolo has ended up being for the Cowboys, and I feel like that they can win the comp without him. That's my feel. Yes. How long will it take us to break through the Titans? How do we what's your attacking game plan against the Titans? Like I've watched the Titans enough this year to know that the Titans are generally defensively fragile pretty much everywhere, but they've also played most of the season without Tino Fa'asuamaleaui. So do you think that like the game plan here is tucking through the edges, go around them? What are you trying to do here?
It's mainly edges, but it starts in the middle. It's what we always talk about with what we hoped the attack would be. We need Uppy to sort of attract AB. You need Dewey to attract CDE, and then you want Luai or Fainu, depending on which side it's on, to sort of be able to at that point hopefully have overlaps or take the right option or whatever it may be. So yeah, I think the edges, they're pretty fragile. Brian Kelly and Jojo Fafita speak for themselves in terms of being defensive players. They're not very good from that point of view. Philip Sami is erratic. Some days he's amazing. Other days he's terrible defensively. I'll be trying to bait him as best as possible. Get Giral and Charlie Staines to sort of hold their width. On both edges. Jalen de Groot is a fullback by trade, so yeah, that's where I'd be looking to attack. How long will it take for us to break them? I think we'll score early. I'm not really worried about that. I don't think we attack that badly. Like I don't think it's been up to standard. But against a side like the Titans, I don't think we'll have too many issues. The issue is just defense and attitude.
Yeah, I got no idea, eh? Like I don't really like the Titans are strange because like I don't think that they have any particularly glaring weaknesses. Like
Mm.
it's just that they're kind of just defensively not good anywhere.
Yeah,
Like
they're just off.
they're just generally fragile. So I feel like that it's just gonna have to be a matter of just being upbeat and having energy. Like if we show up with the same intent and the same energy that we showed up with in the games that we performed well this year, and the passes stick, should be alright. Like if we if I feel like Appy's gone into his shell over the last month or so.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer than that. Like I think it was a fair few weeks ago now that I sort of mentioned that I feel like that Appy kind of needs to be Appy more throughout the game, and I feel like especially against the Warriors, he was pretty much just shuffling the ball on. Like he's sort of he stopped trying to like bring forwards onto the ball, one off the rock. He's sort of
Yeah, it's definitely a problem. I don't know what's going on there for sure.
he's not picking the right times to run either. So, but I mean, generally, I'd be sort of expecting that Appy's gonna have. If we're gonna win this game, it's gonna have to be off
Yeah,
the
he's
back of
gonna.
it.
Yeah, he's gonna be picking up.
I feel like our losing streak has coincided with the drop in form of him. To be honest.
Don't disagree, my friend. I think you might be right.
Yeah, well, so that's about it then. I think. Like, does anybody else? Oh, what do we got? Blatant, absolutely, just get him a sports sponsorship for Weekly New York Kicks.
Talking about Payne Haas, I think.
Oh,
'Cause
look, okay, no,
the Broncos should get rid of him.
you can step aside. I'll explain this. So, Payne Haas and Terrell May, how far apart are they as players in terms of the actual output? Right. So the difference between them is that Terrell May doesn't commit as many defenders when he runs the ball. That's about it. In terms of the amount of meterage that they create per game, in terms of the defensive impact that they have on the game, Payne Haas will be a little bit more dominant at the point of contact when he attacks. That's about it. Payne Haas is earning twice as much as Terrell May. So if you're the Broncos, it's maybe less of a question of like, I think that they don't have to let him go, right? Like it's not like they have to because they're so good anyway. But look at what happens to the Broncos when their depth gets tested. When the Broncos like suddenly it's just Payne Haas out there and Carrigan's out hurt, or Reynolds is injured, or whatever the case may be. Suddenly they're vulnerable. What would Brisbane look like if they had Willison playing where Haas is playing, and then they had, instead of Haas, they had two good props from other clubs instead? Would that side be that much worse? I don't think they would be worse at all. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not necessarily, maybe I should rephrase. Like I wouldn't necessarily be looking to get rid of him, but I would not be in a hurry. I wouldn't be getting bullied by him in terms of contract negotiations. They got to play it like Penrith would. Like he's about what he's about getting paid about what he deserves. I'd say.
Fair enough, my friend. You want to leave it there?
Nah, I'm on fire now. You know who else I think's overrated? Nathan Cleary, mate. Like that Origin, like in the wash up of the Origin performance, Jerome Luai copping so much stick about that. Nathan Cleary was diabolical. Nathan Cleary was one dimensional. Jerome Luai wasn't much to scoff at, but they gave Cleary a 6 out of 10 in the telly, and they gave Luai a 4 out of 10. Take the piss.
Luai was far better and actually tried hard. Yeah, no, I agree with you there. It's funny what you talk about your VORP ratings in the NRL, but yeah, you compare it to Origin, Cleary falls off a cliff.
It's well, yeah, it just goes to show the system, I suppose. But I mean, come on, I can't believe they're re-upping Laurie Daly. What do you think of that?
There's just not many options. If the very very obvious candidate in Andrew Johns doesn't want to take it, they're just going to continue to shuffle it around. It's as simple as that. Joey just needs to just bunker down. Just give him the job part time. He clearly doesn't want to do it part time, and just let him go hell bent for leather for 12 weeks.
I don't get Origins. What it's become when it comes to their coaching philosophy. Like, instead of like picking a good coach, it's like pick a superstar that, I don't know, like inspires the players and let the players coach themselves or something. Like, is that what it is? Like, because like I threw out, this is the episode of like Mac deteriorating into like maniacal takes that make no sense. But I threw out on X, I thought like Brett Hodgson make a good Origin coach. The guy's coached like freaking 100 ESL games, been an assistant coach for 10 years. He's played the damn game. He's probably the smallest Origin player to ever play it. I got met with like, mate, he started the New South Wales downfall in 2006. Like, he got ragdolled. Like, I think that would be a good thing, you know, like, because you've got a guy who his iconic memory as an Origin player is being thrown over the sideline by Gordon Tallis. Like, you know, like. Imagine finding a player who has more, like a head coach who has more to prove in the Origin arena than Brett Hodgson. I would be a masterstroke. I don't do it. I don't know why no one ever talks about him as an option. He's a fucking literal coach with an Origin pedigree. Why not? Why not Brett Hodgson? Why is Laurie Daly a better fucking choice than Brett Hodgson?
We could sit here and talk about it forever. I think the loss will go around again.
He is. They already said he's been renewed, bro.
Yeah, we won't get a chance. We won't get a chance to sit here and speculate. I know I can see that you're in pain and you want to leave, so I'm just dragging this out just to piss you off. You're all right. Keep going.
No. It's about that time, I think.
Indeed, it is.
Thanks a lot to everybody in the comments. It was a very chirpy chat.
In the end, it started quiet.
Yes, it was very. Look, I mean, I think I might have stumbled onto a bit of a formula here, Reedy. The stupider the things that I say, the more engagement we get in the comments. I might come out every week and say stupid shit.
Well, it's certainly going to divide opinion. I don't know whether or not it's going to continue down this road, but we'll see. It'll be fun.
There's just not much else to say.
There isn't. There isn't.
I don't know how we managed to fill an hour and 43 minutes off of the back of that game. I think we did well. How about
you did well. You did well. You did exceptionally well. Well done.
Man, no, you pulled your weight. Round of applause for Jared for taming the mayhem that is me. Like, good job, man. You did good.
Thank you, my friend.
And shout out to Blaine, MVP of the chat today, definitely. You know, Hawko, you did all right. Jolsey, you did all right. But, you know, uppy games. It's Blaine's week in the sun. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to play some music to you from our wonderful friend AJ, aka State Fair. He's going to play us off today with the wonderful stylings that is the song Strangers. Goodbye. It's going to play in a second.
We're only strangers. Till we realize life is temporary. An illusion we must fight. Open up your eyes. Gonna be alright.
See ya.